because many of you have questions, we can open up 5 minutes only for clarifications, no proposals, only clarifications, okay? So the ones of you who have clarifications, if you want to come over and then you can say them on the mic and everyone can listen. Just 5 minutes.
We won't accept it if you come and speak at the General Assembly. We make decisions.
Yeah, I'm very, very unhappy with what I read here. It's a very narrow perspective, from a solicitor who's actually looking at statutes. My understanding is, and I haven't had confirmation of this, that the Master of the Rolls, who's one of the, I think he's the most senior judge in the country, has said publicly that removing us from here may breach 2 of our rights under the European Convention on Human Rights. Now that is a senior judge. If he has said that, that means that we have backing within the judiciary, and going to court is not a foregone conclusion. It's not a foregone conclusion. I would also like to suggest, and I'm going to read something out very, very briefly here. This is Magna Carta, which is in statute. It's law and statute. So this is section 29 of the 1297 statute, which says, no free man shall be taken or imprisoned or diseased of his freehold, or liberties, or free customs, or outlawed, or exiled, or any otherwise destroyed, nor we will pass upon him, nor condemn. Okay. It's clarification about law.
Yes, it is. He can read it. Let him go. Unless you're let him speak.
Thank you.
No! No! Let him speak. No!
I just want to ask people to consider there is 5 minutes to serve between all of you. Okay, so if you talk for 5 minutes, then we'll be able to just wait.
Can you read it from the start again, please, before you're interrupted?
Or exiled, or any otherwise destroyed, nor will we pass upon him, nor condemn him, but by lawful judgment of his peers, or by law of the land. We will not sell, we will sell to no man, we will not deny or defer to any man either justice or right. Now the history of this site is that this is a traditional, ancient meeting place for convention meetings like this. So we actually have history on our side here. It's by no means a clear-cut case. And I believe that we need to challenge the authority that the corporation are trying to exercise on very narrow points.
I am not qualified myself to comment on what the gentleman has just said, but our solicitor certainly is, and I do believe that Paul Ridge is aware of the Magna Carta. Thank you.
I do believe you don't
trying to influence process! Unduly! Seriously!
Not yours,
I think the lady was here, just talked about identifying ourselves. We are the artists, or the only alternative was political party? Independent, what?
Sovereign state.
Independent sovereign state in England?
We are out.
Okay, my question is, if we are not artists, we're not independent political party, what are we?
Just a kind of boring clarification. In the thing you read out, Naomi, it said the City of London Corporation pulled out based on political pressure from St Paul's. Is that whose words is that? Is that John Ridge's words or the Corporation of London's words? Okay.
I was putting my own editorial spin on that, which
Yeah, well,
I
don't
agree
need
with. However,
spin.
Yeah, we
Don't need
noticed.
spin.
okay,
It's true. You have to be
No,
factual.
sir, just let us speak.
okay. On the day, it is the case though that the City of London were about to serve papers on us.
So what?
And announced it, and then the Dean resigned, and then they didn't. So you can believe those two things are coincidental or not. I leave that up to you.
Sorry, just to clarify, I wasn't suggesting those things were coincidental at all, but the question in terms of where we go about the legal case, it seemed to me that the corporation pulled out because their case fell apart when St Paul's pulled out, perhaps.
It began to unnick.
Well, it's interesting because the Corporation of London, but even what they were trying to serve us with before they decided not to, it was based on the Highways Act, which is the sort of tack they're taking now. And that's a tack they don't need the cooperation of the cathedral to do. If they were talking about trespass, they would have to bring a joint action with the cathedral. So I think it's that it became, so my spin is that it became politically difficult for them rather than legally impossible, because they're trying to do it now.
It was probably discussed yesterday, but I wasn't here. So, what does the court process entail? How long will that take? How soon could they get us out of here if we lose?
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up again, because it's a very important point. If we do not engage with the Corporation of London in some form, we will be seen to have ceased negotiations on our part. This means that when this comes to court, it will be much less controversial. It means most likely we will not be able to get legal aid, which means we'll face, BIMers will be looking at
Why not?
pro bono, case of £100,000 or more. It's difficult to find that kind of money.
No, it's not. Sell the back.
And
Process. Respect process.
And as mentioned, according to Paul Ridge, our solicitor, he thinks it's likely, or at least quite possible, shall we say, that the corporation will start legal proceedings tomorrow. It could be less than 2 weeks.
Just would like to remind everyone to please keep respectful and listen to everyone. And listen to what people are saying. People are not here to put you down. They are trying to give you information. So respect is something very nice when you are speaking on a mic in front of a lot of people. And it will be helpful a lot when we have the discussion. There will be time for everybody to say what they think in the discussion. So, thank you.
And we haven't done it.
I don't think we should negotiate about this occupation at all. We don't need to. They're threatening us with this and that and the other. We have stayed here all this time. The church people have resigned. I think we should have a proposal that we intend to stay here indefinitely. There is massive public support. Over 29 cities. Only one last thing, 29 cities are occupying across the UK. And the last thing is it would be such a shame on us. We cannot give in and cave in when all these countries are in occupation. Look at us, we're not facing what other people are facing. We have the right to be here, we have to stay strong. We can stay here indefinitely like people stayed in Parliament Square for 10 years plus.
Respect includes also when this is a time for clarifications, to use it for clarification, because probably a lot of people here would like to have a say in front of everybody, but we will do that later on the discussion groups.
Clarification question. So I'm intrigued by that option of declaring self-government, because I think it's an interesting intersection in both what legalese might want to say and also what we as an occupation are claiming in our own words. Self-government, we're taking that space, this sort of thing. The thing you mentioned about whether or not other bodies recognize us, have we not been in negotiation under Occupylsx with St. Paul's? Could unions, could other people who have been vouching for us and joining us be those bodies?
We haven't asked them directly. I don't think it is likely that St Paul's Cathedral will recognise us as a sovereign, as a sovereign body. What I can just say is I understand why this proposal is appealing. It's appealing because it gives it's a sense of self-respect and a sense of we are determining our own future. I hope that when you actually hear what Legal is proposing, which Kai will talk to you about, you see that the proposal actually encompasses all of those points and will give us that feeling that we are determining the narrative here.